Good morning, Danny Gamble. So it's the, hang on a second here, can't see. It's the 26th of August and it's just before 11 a.m. in BC time. I live in Steveston, which is just close to the airport, part of Richmond. Anyways, so I haven't done one of these in a while, and I haven't because I got a lot of flack. Well, not negative flack, but just flack. Like, what are you doing? Why are you speaking up about the obvious things in the world? And I'm like, okay, I'll back off. And one was from a friend who actually goes back years ago. I used to work with him. He's in Alberta. Another was from my brother. My brother was a funny one because I said, "So you watched the whole video?" And he goes, "No, it was a video on Putin. I was right at the beginning of the war, so that's how long it's been since I've actually decided to do one of these. I will be posting this to YouTube, so it will go there. And this will be a one take, so I'll just move on from my mistakes, which will be many, I'm sure." Um, so it was for my brother, and he's like, "Well, I watched the beginning and watched the end." I go, "So you didn't watch the whole thing?" He goes, "No." I said, "Well, call me back when you watch the whole thing." And when you're going to criticize me, at least watch it. And he never called me back, and then we've met since, and he's been fine with me. So I guess he got my point afterwards, or is just scared of me maybe. So I'm a Canadian, but I love Canada first. And I guess number two country for me actually be Mexico. But it's also because I lived in Mexico for like 5 years, and then the States. I've mentioned it in past videos. I have not too many relatives left anymore. Some of them have sadly passed away. I still have cousins there. Um, I want America to do well, so here I am. I'm above you. I'm in north of you, right? So I'm the helicopter above you, with no skin in the game, which I've said before in other videos, and um, hopefully something that I say will have perspective. And every once in a while, it's very strange because I don't actually have a following. I don't pursue a following, which everyone says I should, but I don't. And I'm okay with that. But the few people that I do know that like some of the stuff I do post it on, and then it moves forward to their groups and their groups and their groups, and suddenly I'm getting asked questions, which I tend to not answer because I do this because I care about the planet. I care about I have children, I have grandchildren, I have siblings. I have my mom still on the planet, and she's a wonderful woman. And so yeah, I care. So every once in a while, I can't help myself. It's like, so here in America, you need to hear this. You really need to hear this. It's definitely a WTF. It's definitely a what the fuck moment again in the States. And it's been there for quite a few years now. And everyone says, "Well, you must have political bias." Well, I don't actually, and I actually have said in previous videos how I think you've had good presidents in both parties, and I've also said you need both parties. I've even suggested you need a third party. And the reason I think of a third party that probably doesn't work for your brains in America is you've always only had the two. Is that we have a three, four here, yeah, although the one's very minor. But the third one is never probably going to get power, but they help guide the legislation because they always have an input because they still have a lot of people that so they can help massage what's best for the people, and they do that intentionally because they're trying to build their brand. They're trying to move up and become that second party, which I think I've only done one time. And so it's good for them, but it's also good for us, the people, because they actually do stuff that's good for the people on a whole. The problem with your two-party system is that once if one gets really too strong, then they can just dictate all their points of view, which might be half. Well, you guys have a split country, right? So it'll be too much of one viewpoint, which is why that third one makes everyone kind of be more legit. And unfortunately, you've got so many bot politicians that things like your abortion issue right now is like 70-80% agree women's right and X amount of weeks and all that. But it doesn't matter because there's a few that are paying money and controlling and saying no, it'll be our way, right? So you have that problem, and then eventually what's going to happen with your presidents, and now you have that problem with your president because your previous president, what a baby, like the Super Bowl's over, you lost the game, I know, like Super Bowl. I like Seattle. They should have won that second time, 2 times in a row. Why the hell they didn't pass it to Lynch? Hand it off to him versus trying to throw on the 1 yard line, which got intercepted and they lost the game over it. I mean, like what? But it happened. You have to accept things that happen. So you've already got a rigged system where you get to have some voters' votes are worth more percentage wise than others. Because if it was just about the mass of people, then the GOP's in a lot of problems because they tend to turn off a lot of the masses of people. So therefore they have your electoral votes, whatever. You have a scam basically. You'll have like a North and South Dakota, and they'll have a couple representations each. A place like California that like they poop more people than there are in North and South Dakota. Excuse me, but it's a joke. It's not even comparable. But yet they get less representation as a result for the amount of people. So it's just a scam, and everyone knows it's a scam. It's like, oh well, it's just the way it is. And actually, I'm going to jump a little bit here. Right now, you got people that are complaining their constitutional right on the GOP that are in trouble right now. Constitutional rights this, constitutional rights that. And yet, over here, they were trying to, Trump himself specifically said, well, maybe we just, change the Constitution. Maybe I actually go after people. Like he's announcing, I'm going to go after people if I get back in power. Right? It's going to be a hit list. There's so many, Democrats. I'm going to give you a shot here. Democrats, like the only reason that everything's going your way, well, somewhat going your way, because legally it may still not, but it's because the GOPers are realizing how the good ones, people who've like hard for the people and for their constituents, are saying enough. This is too much, but they're slowly getting shoved out for the extreme. But I don't hear a lot from you guys. There's a couple guys that I hear consistently from, but overall, I don't hear a lot from a lot of you. Like a lot of the times I see a pushback, it's from a GOP to a GOP personality. It's like, you guys should be shouting. You guys have all the right to be standing on the chairs right now and saying, "What the f are you doing?" Like, do you want a Putin, a murderer, a killer? Do you want a Kim Jong Un, whatever, North Korea guy? Do you want that kind of country? Because that's what right now the GOP extremists are pushing. They're pushing that laws don't matter. We'll throw out the Constitution when it suits us. We'll use it when it protects us. Like we'll use the courts. We'll stack the courts, and then we'll pay them off. We'll give them trips or whatever with Clarence Thomas, and we'll give him all these things so that he, rules in our favor. So your Supreme Court, your number one court, is corrupt, 6-3, but 2 or 3 of them are like bought and paid for. More than 2 or 3 actually, but anyways, 2 or 3 that are officially bought and paid for, and so therefore they have a slant on everything they look at. You had Bill Barr before protecting Trump, and now he realizes that shit, man. I don't know if it's maybe he's got a niece or a daughter or someone that said, "Daddy," or "Uncle, what are you doing? Like you're ruining our country." And at the end of the day, you are ruining your country because if you don't have courts that are fair and rule of law actually matters, then what do you have? You're going around the world telling everyone, democracy is best, rule of law, you got to have that, and then you don't have it in your own backyard. One of your two parties has been super corrupt, and yes, they're 20-30%. It's the base. All right, so I'm going to help you there with the base. I know I'm jumping around. So, base. Yes, they are the base. But do you know, with that base, if you follow them and you put a guy like Trump back as your, which is looks like what you're doing, you're going to put him back as your representation in the next, bid for presidency. You actually are destroying your party, because people that would want two parties and want to vote this way one day and this way another, the undecided, so, but they're trying to balance it out, which is what I do when I vote. They're trying to balance it out. They're being like, oh fuck, I don't want a Putin kind of guy running my life. I don't want it. And they can go blah blah blah, but it's pretty obvious what's going on. So you're actually going to lose no matter what. Oh yeah, but we need them to get to represent ourselves. Actually, I don't think you do. Whoa, who's this Canadian to understand this and what way it's going to go? The only way you fix your party, and maybe not this election because you kind of screwed up. You kind of majorly screwed up. You tried to overthrow your own country through your ex-president now, who was president at the time. You can't get more extreme than that. So you need to just kind of like, shit, this sucks. We're going to be out of commission for the next 4 years. Throw them to the side. Or, what if you could win this election? Your base is 30%. They're solid. They hate the Democrats. They love the GOP. They're also very politically motivated. So what are they going to do? They're going to vote. And yes, they want to vote for their guy that they picked, and they want everyone else to support him because they pick him. Yes, there's your risk. But you say, no, we're going to pick a guy that actually probably still 70-80% of them are going to vote for him, because they're not going to vote Democratic, so they're not going to sit on the sidelines. So it's not who they are. So you're still going to get a big part of that vote. But you can also get the middle. And you can get people, even from the Democrats, that say, oh my God, they're putting in like a decent human being. I'm going to help them out. I'm going to I'm going to promote that. And not only because, by the way, Democrats, it is time. I actually love Biden. I think he's a great guy. But it is time that they find someone new too. So, anyways, what can they do? Well, who could change things? Who could get that middle votes, which is the masses of your vote, by the way, way more, and even pull some Democrats? Well, you had two people that stood up in the sixth committee. The one, yes, you don't probably want her because her dad was the vice president, Cheney, and she was too much on point. Good for her. She was too much being. She was Jiminy Cricket, and the other guy beside her was the other Jimmy Cricket. I apologize because this guy deserves me to know his name, but because I say Kissinger, and I don't think it's Kissinger. It's something close to that though. The young guy that actually went over and fought in wars. Didn't even want to have that role in the January 6th Commission. Didn't want it. You can find tapes on it. I actually didn't want them to choose me. But when they chose him, just like he did with the war, he said, well, I got to stand up. And I gotta do it. I've been asked. I got to do it. I do have opinions on it. I do know what's right and wrong. That guy there kills Trump. He kills Biden. Like, they would actually have to get rid of Biden, get someone younger and fresher. Maybe an AOC or someone. They would need to change really quickly, because that young guy who saw what was wrong, he'd probably be your next president, and probably for 8 years. So GOP, that is where you need to go. And the MAGA needs to actually get put in their place a little bit. Like they've gone too extreme. You've got to get rid of the Gates, Taylor, Marjorie Taylor, and who's the other one? Jim Jordan. You need to get rid of those kind of people, because they are. Oh, and that guy that lies about who he is. Like you need to flush out some of we all need to have a good poop once in a while. Right now, you guys need to have a big shit and get rid of this crap and get back to being the other party that has a right to run the country. and then your country is back on the right direction. So I want to put a big like period. That's the end of what I really wanted to do. I just want to add a little sub thing, like in the brackets, parentheses, um, regarding Ukraine and Russia. And there are people in that GOP and the Magna Group that they are trying to push towards delaying, and Russia's trying to delay it out because they see a guy like Trump switching it. So what happens then? Think about this, America. What happens? All right. So Ukraine has done the fighting, have lost the people, have had their sons and daughters killed, their daughters raped, their mothers raped and killed. They have had their towns destroyed, and Putin has done it all because he just wants to continually regrow Russia and be this like phenomenal, historical, the best man ever in Russia's history. He's an asshole. I got that on one of my tapes. That one got me on phone calls and emails. But come on, it's like when as human beings do we say greed's too much? That's just greed. He's already, I don't know if he is now, but he was probably prior to the war the richest man on the planet. It was hidden, he had to hide it because he had to have his oligarchs hold his money so he didn't look bad to his people. But I mean, I'm not a blind man. Like we all pretty much know. Oh, maybe he was number 2 or 3. Ooh. Like sometimes people just need to be told, "Come on, man. Come on, man. We supported you. We backed you. Enough." And by the way, don't kill people. Don't kill the innocents. Don't kill the children. Don't rape the women. Like it's bullshit. And people go, "Oh, it wasn't him. It was Wagner." He pays the Wagner group, and we just saw him kill off the Wagner leader when the Wagner leader had enough of being on the front lines and losing so many of his soldiers, right? And that guy's an asshole. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing that he died if he is the one that died in the plane, because there's still, whether it happened or not, they haven't clearly let us know. But it looks like him and a bunch of his close associates were taken out in one plane ride. But my God, Ukrainians have given more than enough that they should be supported. More than enough. Like it's amazing that they've held on like they have, and now they're winning. I mean, this is against one of the major. It'd be like I don't know if you can do it comparable, but I don't know. I'll throw one out there, but it's not real. Like say France and England joined together, went against America, and then they were winning. I mean, like everyone knows, no, it's not going to happen. They just don't have the armaments. They don't have the size of the force. That's how Russia was. Like it's amazing they didn't get rolled over. And had Donald been in, they would have. And by the way, let's do another parenthesis. Why is Donald pushed so hard? He didn't want a job. Why did he push so hard to get out of jail now? But before that, someone bought him, right? They bought him, and therefore he had to win at all costs. Because he sees how Putin treats people that don't come through for him. He's a I use the word bastard. He's a bad boy, and if he's been paying for Trump, and his Trump's wife is kind of like that way. She's on the paperwork. I think she's been planted. I've said this in other videos where you ever see her around Putin, she's all giddy like a little girl, like, oh, she's all excited because Putin's there. You ever watch her with her own husband, just slap the hand. I think she's there for a reason. She makes sure that he knows exactly what's going on, and also has the ability to pull that money back when he needs it, because he's been giving out so much. And Trump, he's like, oh, thanks for the money. I've run myself dry here in America, so now I'll go to Russia. Oh, and by the way, Putin, directly to you, you're learning what a lot of other people have. Backing a plow horse to win a the big racist. That this isn't going to happen. He's not. He talks like he's the guy, but even his talk is so frivolous, so obscure. You should have picked up on it. Like, you're a smart man. Sadly, not sadly for me personally, but sadly for the world, you're a very smart, clever man, and your greed and goals go against basically the whole world. Um, so here I am taking a risk again. It's been 2 or 3 years, whatever it's been, because I know I'm getting a lot of pushback. But at the end of the day, America, you've got your GOP, you've got your president. He's just sitting there, and you're all hating him right now. The MAGA group is hating him. Well, they're hating him because he's telling the truth. They're hating him because he's on the side of American general people, like all the people. He's not a racist. He's actually really fought in the military for you guys. He sees the world as America being a very important part of it. Maybe the number one part, like they've been for years, but not through the GOP eyes of hate and slander. And we can't lose. You can lose the Super Bowl, like I said towards the beginning. You can lose. It sucks, but you can lose. You can have deflate balls that you had the one time and everyone questioned it. But when the whistle blows and the score is done and it's over, move on. Next year, year after, whatever, move on. Be big boys and girls. Pull your pants, pull your boxes and your panties up, and stop being babies about it. Like, it's shameful. It's sad. And all right, then Apprentice. That the court cases are coming up. You see how everyone's trying to get it back to the federal out of the state. Well, the state lady's the only one that's actually named the people. She's the only one that took the mugshot. She's the only one that's saying, like, what the hell? This is the law. Like, why are we, what's going on here? And I worry about the federal. These guys like, what's his name? I can picture him right now. The guy that wants it himself to go to federal. It was the main guy to Trump, sitting outside his office, whatever his name was. Anyways, he wants to go federal because he's probably already, from the looks of it, he's already given up information to the guy that's doing the federal cases, and he's probably going to be protected. But if he goes, then all the rest can come with him, or they can petition to go with him. And then for the one person that might actually hold these guys to account, which they totally need, so the whole world can see that you are fair, that your laws are legit. Listen to that your laws are legit. If they're not legit, your people don't have to follow them because you're not following them, right? And the rest of the world that you're trying to influence to be rule of law, democracy, no one's above the law, are all going to look at you and go, fuck you, you're full of shit. When it happens to you, with, what's the guy, what was the guy that besides earlier President Nixon? What happened with him? He got off. Someone gave him a pardon. The guy that Trump gave a pardon ended up being in the midst of this again, and they got videos of him now running out of town when he realized, oops, it's not going the way we were hoping it would go. It's like, you can't have get out of jail free cards. You shouldn't have some states having more representation by splitting their state to north and south, and small populations having therefore more say than the big populations. Like, a vote should be a vote. Your country should be run by the majority, and it's not. And I know right now some of the minority ways are going, oh, this is terrible. It's not terrible. It's the way the world's evolving, and you try to go back in history, it doesn't work. Slave labor doesn't work. Slaves don't work. Slave labor doesn't work. And for all you very wealthy, greedy people, what are you doing? Have you not looked at history? Oh, we got so much more money, 2008 crash will pay off all the bankers and everyone else will lose their homes, right? People barely accepted that. I don't even know why they accepted it, but they did. But you can only go so far, and that's how huge civilizations just disappear overnight. Because if the sheep rise, when the sheep rise, it doesn't matter, the handful of wolves, which in this case would be army and police that are bought and paid for. It doesn't matter about the sheepdog. Oh, excuse me. The sheepdogs are the bought and paid for ones. The wolves are the actual ones that are at least admitting that that's what they're going for. Billions of sheep will trample, um, the few that, and they'll be like, why are they doing this to me? They'll be like these guys right now. They're on TV going, I had to have a mugshot taken. I had to have 22 minutes in the court system where most people would have 12 hours. The average would be like 10, 12 hours. America, what the fuck? Smart enough. Love ya, but also hate you. Don't hate you, but like annoyed at you. Love you and annoyed at you because can't trust you. The old forked tongue statement. White men speak with forked tongue. It's true down in America still. You say one thing, oh, Constitution, protect me. Oh, Constitution, let's get rid of it. Same person. It's bullshit. All right. I had fun here. Hopefully it's half decent. Hopefully I have no idea what my volume or anything. I haven't checked anything. I just turned it on and went. Take care of Danny Gamble from Steveston, Canada. I'm a nobody or a broke son of a bitch, but I still have an opinion. And according to my ex, I have too many opinions. Cheers.